Hi there.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
I know this.
How's your con so far?
Yeah, good. We've just been in these little black sealed in rooms, right? I want to see what's out there. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Is it? I've never been out there.
You don't want to.
No?
I'm sorry. Yes, you do.
It's very busy.
I bet. I'm excited to see it.
So how are you guys preparing for the launch of the new season? Are you guys like scared, anxious? Are you happy?
It's exciting. I mean, this season is going to be, I think, really intense right out the gate. So I'm excited I haven't even seen, the first episode yet. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I think I'm really curious. I think sometimes you have a sense when you're shooting something of how it's going to kind of fall on people, and I think because it's genre and because there's like you're scaring people and making creepy things happen. A lot of that stuff doesn't necessarily happen when we're shooting. A lot of that stuff gets added. So I'm really curious to see like what it's gonna look like. I don't always watch the things that I do, so it's I will watch this one because I'm fascinated with like how it's gonna look and what it's gonna feel like.
Yeah, it was that world was such an intense, crazy experience to work in. Yeah. So I think just seeing that world, once it's put together, is going to be good.
Yeah.
Is it difficult when you film something like that to kind of turn it off? Do you take it with you a lot afterwards?
Is that difficult for you?
Sometimes, I guess. I think sometimes when you're playing a character, especially ones like these, you put a lot of thought and research and effort into creating this character. So when you play it for a certain period of time, there's a sadness when it's done. So I felt that definitely when this one was done. Separating myself from it was hard, because it was just such an exciting experience and spending so much time with that character.
It's funny. I don't have any problem with like playing a character that say is not a particularly nice person or super unethical or awful, and then dragging that into my real life. Like I know people like that who they don't necessarily become unethical, but they carry the weight of like those people.
Right.
I'm not really like that. Like as a person, like I like to be on. I love to be on set. I love to make shows and movies, and it's fun. It's like fun for me. So even when we're doing dark, awful, sad things, I still like to kind of have fun while I do it. But kind of what you were saying, it is hard when you work with a group of people that you like so much, and we really liked each other. There was a lot of like I loved Lizzie and Barkha and Yusra and sometimes Matthew, there's like and Tim. It was so much fun to like work with all these people. We had a really good crew, and they were pushed. It was a lot of hours because this kind of stuff, CGI and blood and all that stuff takes a lot of time.
It's right out the gate.
So it was a really nice group of people. So I felt sadness about not being there.
There are a lot of different influences from different Stephen King novels throughout, kind of weave through the Castle Rock universe. What were some of your favorite Stephen King novels that you've read?
I was just telling Paul I started reading Salem's Lot when we started filming, just because I kind of wanted to be reminded of that world, how twisted it can be, and anything can happen in that world. So that was cool to kind of just refresh myself. But when I was younger and a teenager, I read quite a few of his books. To me, Pet Sematary just terrified me at the time. I think I was too young to read it actually at the time. But, that opened up the door for this crazy Stephen King world that I feel like is somewhat of a fabric of our history. And nowadays you see so many shows and movies that are part of his world. It's very cool, very exciting.
Yeah, I love The Stand. I'm like a Stand. I think there probably are two different Stephen King readers. I think they're the people who just love Stan. Like, I love that book. I love it because it's long. I love the fact that it's split into 2 books, and the first is just kind of watching this plague sort of spread, and then people being alone, and what do you do when a city is still turned on, like all the lights are still on, all the things are still on, but the people are all dead. Like, what does that look like? I always thought it was fascinating, and I love the sort of struggle between good and evil that the second half of that book has. Yeah, I like him. You know, I feel like he's such a he has such an interesting take on like what is horror, like what is it, and it's so much of it has to do with us as humans, like the things that we do that put us in kind of horrific situations, like the fact that we forget that bad things have happened in the past. You know, it's so a part of like who we are. You know, that we forget, like how we are like, oh no, we're in this situation again with this clown, you know, that's trying to kill everybody. Remember? Like, he came
years ago.
he was here. Don't you remember? And nobody remembers. I think that's like terrifying. But it's so emblematic of who we are as a culture. And so I like it that he's political like that. So it's good.
So question for, oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say really quick, not just the horror element in his books. I feel like the characters that he writes are also come from a very real place that most people can relate to. So I feel like that's why also his works are so popular, so well received.
So my question, I never know with actors how much time you have to consume entertainment on your own, like TV and movies. Did you watch the first season of Castle Rock? Were you a fan, or have you seen it since you started on this series? And how do you feel stepping into the second season? It's totally different than the first of an already popular show.
I did watch it, but I watched it sort of as this was kind of getting put together, and it seemed like I might be doing the show. I went back and watched. Although they were like, look, it's totally different, and it was obvious from the script that I read that it was a totally different world. But I loved it. I thought it was, the first season was kind of a big seller for me to want to do this season. It was so beautiful, but I love the complexity and the sort of the weirdness of you know, like what Melanie was doing, and you know, just there was so much weirdness in that show. And I love Andre Holland. I've known Andre for a long time, and I was really, I think you feel a certain responsibility because you can tell that like people love this show, so don't fuck it up. You know what I mean? Like, don't.
There's a little pressure.
Yeah, you know, so there is a pressure, but I applaud Dustin Thomason and the writers. They really swung for the fences this season. I mean, I can remember saying like, it's like every episode is an attempt at a finale. You know, it's like they're big episodes of these big reaches at the end, and you're kind of shocked that they could end it like that.
Every time we received a new script, it was like,
oh wow, there's a lot going on in this one.
It's
Yeah,
just a lot.
which is exciting and fun to like be a part of trying to really stretch and do a lot.
Were there any character traits like with your characters that you guys personally identified with?
That's a danger. I should not answer that.
Say that question.
I mean, it's just if you guys identified with your characters.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like really nice. He's a nice guy.
And my character, he's a little nicer at times.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, no, I mean, I am also exactly like Ace.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Can't wait for the show.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Much
Thank you.
success.
Thank you. I hope you
Have a
enjoy
good
it.
rest of your day.
Thank you. Maybe we'll get to see the big rooms.